Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another video. And today we're going to be doing another story time. And in this particular story time, I'm going to be telling you guys about how I almost died. And this is like a legit, like I could have been shot and killed in this instant. So, with all that morbidness just coming around, let's start talking about it. So, you guys already know that or most of you guys know, most of my subscribers are most of my friends at the moment. So if anybody decides to watch it later on, I'm going to provide them with a little bit of context. So I've been doing martial arts for about like seven years, I'd say, 7 years, around there. And I did it because I was bullied when I was smaller. But now obviously I'm not bullied anymore because I do martial arts and I can defend myself. And this is when it really popped up. It really showed that martial arts has affected me in a very positive way. Because one night I had just gotten done with practice and I was like really sore. And so I went to the Walgreens just because I wanted a drink. And whenever I went to the Walgreens and I got a drink, I walked in and immediately my spidey senses were going off. I'm like, yo, this does not feel right. Because one, I'm in Kingwood. Okay, this is not the first time I've been confronted in Kingwood with a weapon. Okay, and then also I was, oh gosh, in the store. There was just so many suspicious looking people in there, and I was like, dude, one of them is gonna pull a gun and start shooting people. And I know that's awful to say, but good lord, like it was sus. It was sus in there. That's all I can really say. So I walk in and there's this dude with like a gray beard yelling at the cash register. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of that." And so I just went to the back, waited for the yelling to stop. I know that's bad for me to do because I know I should have been the one to walk up and be like, "Hey, dude, buzz off" or something like that. But I was like, you know what? It's 9 o'clock at night. We're in Kingwood. I don't want to do this right now. So I just went to the back and I got me two Gatorades because at Walgreens at the time they had the little discount where it's like, hey, you get two of these big Gatorades for $3. And so I was like, hey, let's do it. And so I got my two Gatorades and I was just like walking around the store aimlessly, and then the yelling stopped and I was like, okay, we're good. And so I walked to the cash register and the guy was gone, gone, and I had like no clue where he went. So that kind of boom boom like set an alarm in my head. I was like, dude, I gotta find this guy before I leave because I don't know if he's gonna find me or like be like or try and rob me or something like that. And so I walk up to the cash register and I pay for it. I pay $3 for my Gatorade, and after that I start walking out the store, and immediately the guy's right there. He's like smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, okay, whatever, okay, I'm good. And so I start walking to my truck. So I take like a left all the way to my truck, and I'm walking to my truck, and I notice like footsteps behind me, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty weird. Whatever, it's probably just a random guy. And I was like, wait a minute, alarms in my head. It's 9 o'clock at night. We're in Kingwood. No, sir, it's not. And so I turn around, and immediately this guy just has a gun. And this guy's following me with a gun. And so I'm like, oh, Christ, like, what is going on right now? And so he has a gun in his hand, and he goes, give me all your money. I know, very cliche or line, right? He goes, I want your money right now. And I was like, look, man. And I like put my hands up like I was trained to, because he takes the gun, puts it to my chest, and puts me up against the wall. So basically, I have a gun to my chest right here, which one shot that ends my life, right? And me being like, you know what? I'm not giving this guy my. I had like 10 bucks on me, and I was like, no, I'm not giving up my $10 just so you can buy whatever. And I was like, look, man, you don't have to do this. I was trying to like talk him out of it. He was like, I want the money right now. And I was like, okay, 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 just chill out, just chill out. And as I was talking to him, I do what I was trained to do. I'm gonna break his wrist. So I push his hand, and if you guys don't know, on a gun, there's like a rack, and over the top, like usually there's not this thing. A lot of people do that just to like show that there's a gun. So usually there's not this thing. This thing is like usually back here, and it fires. It's called the hammer, and so on the gun, it's called the slide. So the slide, it like racks back and puts one in the chamber, puts a bullet in the chamber. So if you grab that rack after someone shoots and it doesn't slide back, you basically just lock the gun until they can rack it back again. And so that's what I did. I grabbed the gun and it, boom, it fired a shot into the wall, through the wall, almost hit the manager. And it fired a bullet through the wall, boom, bullet went through the wall. I grabbed the slide, a bullet fails to eject. And at this point, it's all instinct. So I grab it, I'm like, boom, and it fires like an inch away. Like I swear, I felt it like graze my ear, and my ears were ringing. But at the moment, I didn't care. I only cared whenever I got in my truck, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I can barely drive. Okay, but basically, he shot the wall. Could have killed someone, but he didn't. So he shot the wall. I grabbed the gun, and I did a wrist lock, where basically this wrist lock you grab right here on the pinky, and you pull, and basically you can break their wrist from there. You can twist their wrist, break their wrist, or you can pop their wrist out of place, which is really hard to do because there's like a bone right here locking your wrist and your hand together. So basically, I break his wrist, boom, he's like, oh, yells, and then he drops the gun, and immediately my first thought is I have to clear that gun, right? So I pick up the gun and I pull the magazine out, right? I pull the magazine out and I sit there and I'm like unloading each little piece of the bullet. Like if you don't know a magazine, it's like a big slot thing, and there's bullets that are loaded like all the way down, right? And so I'm sitting here, I'm like, and the bullets are all like pop, 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 like falling out. And so so I cleared the gun, and the guy's still sitting there like in pain, and I'm just like, dude, get out of here. And so he runs off with a broken wrist, and I get in my truck and I drive away. Now, let's talk about what could have been more progressive that happened. Okay. So more progressive that could have happened in that story is I could have just given him the $10. I mean, $10 is obviously not worth my life. But at the moment, I was like, testosterone. I'm like, no, I'm not giving up my $10 just so you can spend it on something stupid, like drugs or something like that. Because obviously that wasn't his first time doing that. He was very casual about it. He like walked up, he was like, yeah, give me all your money. And I was just, I wasn't having it. And so to prevent him from doing it again, I had to obviously teach him a lesson about it. And I felt really bad because he was like in his 30s. Like he had like a white beard. He had to be in his 40s, 30s, somewhere around there. But he wasn't moving around good either. And so it was just rough, man. And also, I should have done a lot more if he was going to threaten my life for $10. I should have done a lot more to make him learn. But I mean, broken wrist is fine, right? I mean, he could have taken my life, which is a lot. And to be honest, if you're gonna take my life, I'm probably gonna leave you with more than just one broken bone, if you give me the opportunity. Which he did. Which he sat there like this. He was like, "Oh, my wrist," with for like a good 10, 15 seconds, because it doesn't take. It doesn't. I mean, it takes a little bit to unload everything in the magazine, because he had like 9 to 10 bullets in there, man. It was an extended mag, I think. And so I was like, pop, pop, pop. I'm like, when is this going to end? And so, like, all the bullets were on the ground. And I dropped the magazine, dropped the gun, and I'm like, dude, get out of here. And he like, tried to reach for the gun. Actually, I didn't mention this, but he tried to reach for the gun. And I was like, no, leave the gun. And he was like, and then he took off. Like, he was like, oh, no, my gun that I tried to rob you and kill you with. So, I was just... It was an interesting night, okay? Keep in mind, I'm also sore, and so I'm like barely, like, my arms are like limp. I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to move, and that's why I was getting Gatorade. I was gonna get some electrolytes, and so yeah, on the way home, I just like thought, after something happens, you think like, what could have gone worse than that? What could have been worse than what happened then? Like, I was thinking, like, man, dude, he could have killed me. I could have been just sitting there, like, lifeless in the parking lot of Walgreens. And if you guys don't know what Walgreens is, for you foreign folks, I'm not sure if it's international or not, but Walgreens is like a prescription drug place where basically you can go pick up your prescription if you get it from a doctor. And so basically, So I could have been like sitting in the Walgreens parking lot, just lifeless and dead, and nobody would have knew who I was until like somebody called the police and they would have ID'd me, and then mom would have got that call like, hey, your son has passed, and dude, that would kill my mom, dude. My mom would be so upset, like she would probably die of grief because she always tells me like, uh, if anybody knows, like those moms, they do that thing where they're like, okay, once you get to your location, like when you first start driving, once you get to your location, I need you to text me. Okay, like that's my mom. And so I just don't know what I don't know what could have happened. I mean, that was like best possible scenario right there. I mean, mediocre scenario was I could have given him the money, he could have ran off. But I mean, it is what it is now. So yeah, that's the story of how how I almost died in a Walgreens parking lot in Kingwood. By the way, don't go out at night at Kingwood. Please don't. Okay, it's just not that great of a thing. Okay, don't go on the Green Run trails. The Green Run trails are the dumbest thing that has ever happened to Kingwood. Green Run trails, there are a lot of people that get kidnapped on those trails. If you don't know what the Green Run trails are, it's like the sidewalk that goes into the woods. It's like a park almost, but there's too many trees so nobody can see you. But don't go on the Green Run trails. Don't go to Walgreens at 9 o'clock at night in Kingwood, okay? Because stuff is dangerous. So, on that note, I hope you guys have a great day. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and press those notification buttons, okay? Until next time, deuces.